just gonna go down in time. This is not going to happen.
Graced up there. Oh, Dicey.
Oh my God, J-Mo, the champion of this one.
Wow, Sanaa, he gets the triple off the rocket as the fourth.
Welcome back, everyone. A reminder that the Valorant Open qualifiers have kicked off with the broadcast starting in just about half an hour from right now. So if you're a fan of the Pew Pew, be sure to check it out. And good luck to the teams competing there as we get into Game 2 of the lock-in semifinal between Team Liquid and Evil Geniuses.
Or stay here and watch the rest of this series because half an hour is only time for one more game. And regardless, even if TL wins them all, they're going to need 2 more wins to finish this series out. It is a very good start for them, though. And ALSS was kind of talking about blue side versus red side as well. Now it feels like there is so much that EG have to overcome in the pick ban phase here. This wasn't even a game where they gave Tactical and Core JJ some kill lane bottom side or something, and they ran through that. It was Core JJ a lot of roam plays with the Thresh, yeah, saving a lot of people early with the Lantern, and then coming up with big hooks like at the Dragon fights. But I think that things are going to get a little bit more dicey for EG as we progress now through the series.
Yeah, even actually just thinking about bottom lane, I was mostly thinking about how often the marksmen were just left alone, which is very common, especially in Ignar lanes, right, where Ignar just loves to leave and affect the map out. In other places, and Core JJ also likes to do the same thing, especially I think you have to match Ignar as a player and be willing to leave and try and affect the map in other places. Otherwise, Jizuke might get a lead and then the game's going to fall apart very quickly for you. So, like we said, there's always the mini-game of keeping track of Ignar, and that does start in the laning phase, but Team Liquid, they had the map on lock from minute 1, it felt like there. So, a very clean game from them. We'll see what EG do back on the blue side here. Once again, we'll be banning away the Samira. Pantheon continuing to get basically perma-banned throughout the whole tournament. And I think EG can look to similar, if maybe not the same, Phase 1 bans. I think the start of their playing was good, but I wonder if they'll defer away from things like Senna. I think maybe keep the Seraphine, but like we said, maybe give Jizuke a little bit more agency as well. Lots of choices, of course, in this day and age of League of Legends, so we'll see what EG want to do here.
And would they even want to go back to another first pick Olaf? Because the Olaf was actually abused, with Santorin showing he can very effectively with winning lanes to work off of, obviously, earn this really strong advantage in the jungle. More farm for Udyr, lots of plays forcing out Olaf ultimate, then kiting away and going for re-engages with the help of Core JJ. It does not seem like this Olaf first pick was really worth it for EG, unless they invest even more into trying to get more winning lanes for it, more shields and speed ups to try and combat that and go on the offensive.
All right, well, Gangplank Camille once again banned in Phase 1 by EG alongside the Samira. Renact and Pantheon there for Team Liquid, so continuing to take things away from Impact. Memory serves, it was
Kai'Sa
ban here. Oh, Kai'Sa it was, you're correct. Kai'Sa? Not yet.
Ah! All right, so technically, since we remade the first time, this is the 3rd time we have had this exact same champion select. Yep. The Olaf is locked in again. Sven Scared wants another piece of that bear, turtle, phoenix, tiger.
I do believe, I'm trying to remember who it was on Twitter. Someone said they'll buy a Team Liquid jersey if Alfari picks Nasus. So I think that's why.
Ah, yeah,
showing off the Nasus.
Good shout out, good shout out. I don't think you're gonna get a purchase with just a hover. Yeah.
No, definitely not. He has to lock it in, of course. But it's going to be Udyr first and foremost. There's still plenty of time to pick up Nasus if that is indeed where Alfari wants to go. But I mean, I wouldn't walk away from this champion if I'm Santorin. In general, this seems like maybe the best first pick jungler right now. So it is interesting to see Olaf being traded back and forth. But I think they are both very powerful. I think though Santorin, like you said, can be more than happy to revisit this given how his first game went.
All right, we'll see. I think this right here is a great combination because, again, we went over last game how many weaknesses it does shore up. A lot of these situations, you get to use your bear stance, go for the engage, get your stun, force out something from your opponents. But there were a couple situations where running is not going to get you out of there, and the Lantern saved the day multiple times for Team Liquid members. I would also say last time Team Liquid were denied the Aphelios that you love to pair with the Thresh. This time it is still open. They could easily go for it again here.
So EG trusting in their preparation though here, so are going to take Nile once again. We'll see if Seraphine also pops up, or if there's something else that EG want to take. Maybe definitely wants to play a different AD, so you pick up a marksman here, and that changes the texture of your bottom lane. Maybe they have an entirely different idea about what bot lane they want to play, so that would obviously change Seraphine as well. But Ignar did have some great ults. I think the looks that we did see from EG that looked good in the 5v5 were off of the back of good Seraphine engages, but I do think Alistar can also do pretty similar things. Another very potent champion there for Ignar.
Yeah, I was going to say an engaged support would be really good locking here, so that then you don't get, double bans in phase 2. The Rel gets banned out, the Alistar gets banned out if you don't pick one up here. And can we get it this time? What I was looking for last time, Aphelios Thresh here, baby. This is one that Tactical and Core JJ have used very effectively in solo queue. They let it go with just the tease hover. Okay. Back to the Jace. They want to lock this one again. Alfari obviously had a good lane matchup there. Got some abuse off on Impact. And the team did focus topside too, to help him control these waves, help him get the bounce back so he could try and deny more, set Impact up in dangerous situations. That being said, I actually thought there were a lot of them that Impact played really well. You do have to rush your steel caps. You do have to go very defensive runes and Doran Shield starter. But I thought for most of it, he actually played and dealt with that pressure very well, which is not surprising considering Impact in his history.
Absolutely. It's a little story as well. I feel like it's kind of like Jace, right? I mean, if you don't remember, Jace was actually the 100th champion. He was made in celebration of that milestone. Now I have no idea actually how many champions we have. It's like 160 plus. But, Jace was very complex for the time when he was released as the 100th champ. And then Aphelios is very complex for champions that have been released quite recently. So, somewhat similar there.
You're not. I'm not buying it. Okay, I still want the combo. Now he's banned out. Now we're not going to get it. Great job.
All right. Well, there's always next game, Kirby. Twisted Fate, Syndra, and unfortunately, Aphelios are going to be the 3 bans here in phase 2, with 1 more to go from EG. 20 seconds until they select another champion to take out of the pool. We'll see if they keep going after Tactical here. Obviously, Core JJ's got his Thresh, so he can't be banning away the support in this time around. It is interesting, actually, to see Team Liquid give Core so much priority, not because he doesn't deserve it, he's a great player, but so much of his success last year, I felt like, came from counter-picking in the support role, but seems to be very comfortable on Thresh with the setups that they're running, so EG decide that's enough bot lane focus, they'll ban away Orianna as their 5th ban. Yeah,
I was going to say that with these bans, you can tell Team Liquid are setting up for their blind pick mid lane, actually, and saving counter pick for the AD carry, which is pretty rare. But when you're banning out your Syndra and your Twisted Fate, EG catches on there with the last one. They ban away the Orianna themselves. Once you see Azir here, they're daring Jizuke to go Echo. They know it's one of his most played, strongest champions. They want to see, all right, are you actually going to play this into Jensen Azir and force yourself into some early playmaking? Because they are now set up with some really, really big carry potential and a lot of safety that Azir brings to a backline when you have a solo lane like Jace for your top side as well. It really does fortify their position towards some of these team fights later on.
Yes, they take it! Locked in for EG. Jizuke is going to throw down the gauntlet, I guess.
Challenge accepted. He picked up the gauntlet. So Team Liquid threw it down. Yeah. He picked it up. Let's see if he slaps him in the face with it or if he's going to just get run through here in the duel. But it is going to be the Kalista combo with Thresh. Another really good combination there. This is very interesting because we keep on hyping up Tactical Core JJ for the 2v2 kills. Very possible with Thresh Kalista versus an Alistar lane here. It's one of the combos that can actually punish Alistar pretty heavily. So I wonder if we are actually going to have topside jungle starts here this time around for the junglers and have, like the level 4 presence on bottom side, because neither of them wants to do anything crazy and actually cut short their full clear, but they could at least start on that side of the map so they could end up down there for some early pressure.
Yeah, I like actually saving AD for counter pick, like you said, where I'm kind of wondering what option do you even have that you would want to see everything before considering. But I think Kalista paired with Thresh is a really nice way to kind of smooth out the back end of your draft here when you're willing to give your marksman counterpick, just because the texture of the lane changes so much in the 2v2, and Tactical's a very good Kalista player, I think, especially alongside a Thresh as proficient as Core JJ. So now it becomes, instead of the 1v1 with the roaming supports that were kind of happening, right, in a lot of the last game, now there's actually a ton of pressure in bottom lane just innately in the 2v2. And then, of course, as you said, if junglers want to go visit down there, if TPs and mid laners want to be walking down or TPing down there, then all of a sudden you can play through bottom lane. And this flexibility that Team Liquid have with how much talent they have across all their roles is one of the reasons they're so fearsome. It's just little things like, oh, we fifth pick AD, and now the entire way the early game is going to play out changes is a huge weapon to have for any team.
Yeah. And that being said, this is what junglers will call a volatile lane for bottom side, with Alistar being able to Q flash into Jhin snares, into headbutt back. Like, both sides have potential, and that's why you expect junglers to look very aggressively at some of the lanes here for ganks, because you have multiple areas of the map that have this high volatile lane matchup, not just bottom side, but obviously the Jason Tanar. They put a lot of pressure and had a lot of people and resources up there as well last time. So you do have to pick and choose. And a lot of the times, too, it has come down to covering the opposite side and the counterplay that is then afforded to your opponents when you do show for a power play like that.
And that's a tough game to play against a team like Liquid, who, again, it feels like not only are they so talented, but they're just so well disciplined and so well drilled as a team, where they understand the map state almost all the times. They have excellent vision control. They know what they want to trade for. They know when they can push a little bit more to try and open up an advantage rather than just trading things off. I think the Team Liquid of yore was a team that almost always traded, and now they've certainly added more offensive weapons into their arsenal, which has been great to see. But it's tough just to be like, yep, we're going to add a little bit more volatility and hope we match you in the right place at the right time, which EG is certainly capable of, and I think a lot of good games from them we've seen have been games that are like that when the mid laner especially is able to get involved in plays that are happening on the side. But against this caliber of opponent, always going to be tough. EG, though, certainly up to the task. Very excited to see how this game shakes out, because it is different from Game 1, which I think is what everyone was asking from EG. Are you going to have a different draft? We were worried that maybe it wasn't going to be after the first few picks, but Jizuke's Echo at least giving us something different, which, if he can get going, should be very powerful. Echo is quite the menace when he's ahead.
He is. I have some explosive news here. Could be a bit incendiary considering the start to the day, but we have a smaller technical issue, so hopefully a shorter pause getting into the game. Should be just a quick restart of one of the computers, having just technical difficulties on the part of one of the PlayStations. So we shall actually get into game number 2 in a small delay. Should be the same champions, though. I don't think it's going to be like we had last time. Nobody panic. Doesn't have to be a full remake. And we can get a full look here. So we'll buy a little bit more time as we do look, because your point about the Echo is really true. And when I was talking about multiple volatile lanes here, this is one of the ones that you want to look at, because the Echo does want to try and play off of kill pressure. Echo does have good fallback patterns too, because Q spam is decent with trying to clear out your wave, but early on gonna want to be able to threaten your E trades so that you can actually have pressure there. And when you have an Olaf too, that is something that you want to utilize. They cannot afford to get double scuttle crabbed again in this game and just let Santorin have this early giant golden experience lead, which Team Liquid got so many free neutral objectives off of last time.
Yeah, definitely need to make sure you're keeping good track of the Udyr and keeping up in farm, if not getting ahead, of course, on the EG side. Azir, though, is one of those champions like Orianna that Jensen's played for so long, but a champion that I've certainly seen, all of us have seen a lot of. And there's typically two schools of thought when you're approaching Azir. It's I either want to outrange him, so something like Xerath, which is a very, very old matchup into Azir, one I've seen, I'm going to say, too many times from my time in the LPL. It felt like the only mid lane matchup at some point. But the other is, something like LeBlanc, which generally need to have paired with some aggression from the jungle, but the opposite idea, right? We are trying to close the gap between the soldiers and Azir and try and deal damage that way by all-inning him. And Echo certainly falls into that second camp. It's not like you can go from level 1 like some really aggressive assassin and just try and kill the bird ASAP, but that kind of idea, right, where you build up an advantage, you find yourself a position, you close the gap with phase dive, and then you look to pressure Azir from there, because like many control mages, and it's one of the reasons Jensen is so good, if he's left to his own devices to just farm and then show up for team fights, he tends to take over them because his positioning and understanding of how to output damage efficiently and safely with his champions is just something you see in a lot of high-caliber control mage plays and something Jensen has certainly looked good in.
And Jensen is one of the players that's really well equipped to take advantage of, offensive range matchups here. If you have Udyr hovering around mid, supplying you a vision, covering you for these opportunities, it makes it so difficult for the Echo because then Jensen gets to move up, constantly harass and push in the Echo. And if you turn mid lane into this priority kingdom for the Azir, with just the threats of these Udyr visits for Echo and for Jizuke, this is going to make it hard for his transition. There's a reason that Echo is so closely associated with Jizuke, and it's because of his aggressive plays, because he has had so much success with it, both within lane phase, but mostly transitioning towards split pushing later. And that's what we want to see from this. As you said, the gauntlet was thrown down. They took the pick. So I'm really happy to see him on one of his pocket pick champions. I guess people kind of will ascribe it to, even though it's become quite a lot more common.
All right. Well, still don't panic. Don't panic. But League Ops is currently investigating if the screen issues that they're investigating earlier have affected a fight or not, which is causing some delays. So they're just doing some investigation. Fingers crossed. Everything's A-okay. Like I said, please do not panic just yet. There's no time for that. In fact, there shouldn't be time to panic at all. The lock-in's been great so far. Games have been great. Even if they take a little bit extra time to get into, they're going to be worth the wait. We all thought it was going to be a short day yesterday, and we were wrong. Settle in for some great League of Legends. It's still coming, I promise.
Yep, we're about to get right in there. I'm sure of it. Pastry time.
I'm sure too.
Honestly, too, I'm super excited with how yesterday went. With you're talking about the previous series, because there was, obviously a reverse sweep always builds up the most tension that you can possibly have, but it was. Coming into this, a lot of people kind of lower rating for Cloud9, and they were able to overcome 100 Thieves. This series is completely different, where pretty much everybody is full Team Liquid. Even though EG started out the lock-in tournament with such strong performances, Impact, Renekton overtaking so much, definitely having such a big showing for the team, overperforming for a lot of people's expectations. So I'm super excited to see if they can pull off a similar thing here. EG start taking some wins, aggressive Echo pick for them, at least in the mid lane. If they start getting some of these kills and snowball early, maybe they can avoid what I'm seeing here on the Team Liquid side, which is a strong top lane in the Jace matchup that you don't actually have to go to for Udyr. You can do the SOFM power clear, which is he had a YouTube video out. I haven't seen it in a lot of the pro leagues yet, but it's one of the ones that I know specifically Jat loves these types of jungle paths.
Oh, yeah.
Where you prioritize your very selfish maximum experience gain in starting your small camps, instead of starting your buff, starting Raptor, then into red Krugs and transitioning back to bottom side, or red, Raptors, then Krugs, then red down to your blue side. And then once you finish blue side and into the Scuttle Crab, you transition right through mid, back up to your 2-minute respawn on your Raptors and second Krugs, and then you go to Dragon. And that is only afforded to you in games where you have stuff like this, where you have a Thresh Kalista bottom lane with Tactical and Core JJ that give you a free pass and is one of the earliest dragon stacking routes that you can actually go for, because you've greatly accelerated. You basically fit 2 extra small camps into your early route to get a bigger experience advantage in exchange for slightly longer respawns on your double buffs, since you're delaying your buff takes.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. It's funny. I almost forgot that Jat was the head coach of Team Liquid, but he has been doing a great job. But even as a commentator, Jat was always thinking, what's the next thing that might be really strong? Because I'm probably going to have to commentate that thing, especially come a big event, because for big tournaments, the patch tends to freeze for long amounts of time if you're looking at something like Worlds, which is, almost 2 months long as a tournament. And I'm sure Jat can apply that same brain power to something like, now being a coach of a team. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not 17 Moonstones on the Liquid side. Maybe he thinks it's not that good. Maybe the players are adjusting. Maybe they just want to play a different style. The game's a lot more open. There's certainly no one right answer to that question. But you are right that if the legacy Udyr player himself, who is now the coach of Team Liquid, has a jungle playing Udyr, You bet he has taught that one to Santorin. Yeah, whether or not Santorin goes for it is another question, but if he doesn't know that, I'm going to be disappointed. Let's just put it that way.
I'm taking the removal of the pick bans lower third at the bottom of your screen as a good sign that we are
getting into game
approaching
momentarily is the update.
that we are approaching getting into game. So very closely here to see some more Udyr play, make some more of the boomers happy. Honestly, I'm expecting. Actually, I'm going to put my money on the power clearance into the early dragon for the bottom side of the map. I want to see it happen, and I want to see them actually this time stick to your dragon stacking. Last time they showcased, trading away Dragon 2 and number 3 and 4 in order to gain so much gold and so much map control that they are able to win the entire game off of this huge mid-game gold lead. But considering the change in the team compositions, I think that they should actually stick to the dragon stacking all the way to Seoul this time.
To contextualize the timing actually for people as well, kind of on this Udyr route, I believe Santorin took it at 6 minutes last game, which was pretty fast, but he did a normal clear, then waltzed in and took it because his bot lane had enough pressure and he had all the space to do it.
He did not
how much faster is this dragon?
Yeah, he did not do the SOFM power clear dragon. And that one is it's about a minute and a half earlier. We'll see because it's basically you're basically staying on the map for 2 camps extra time. It also does delay your recall, but you get a bigger purchase as well. And Udyr has a really easy time, no matter what type of dragon spawns, can solo it. So yes, it's really nice to have pushing lanes for both of your lanes. They don't have to come help. Ideally, you have enough pressure with them to just keep your opponents from even coming and checking.
All right, it's Turtle on the way through. Very excited to see what happens there as Santorin is going to have another go at Udyr. Basically won the game, honestly, with that flash best dance into Jensen Shockwave, but champions have shifted around a little bit. Game should be coming up in a few moments. A lot of the players are playing through, so gameplay is on the way. We are just building up a delay. As a reminder, of course, we do need to have delay built up for competitive integrity. Makes sense, given the environment we are currently bringing you the show from, but I promise, more LCS is coming very, very soon, and we'll get to see Santorin's Udyr and Jizuke's Echo. The most thrilling you could imagine.
Better not be making promises you can't keep, Base Time. I'm watching you.
I'm just relaying the information being given to me. All right. Look, if I have to be here till tomorrow casting this game, Kobe, I will. All right. I'll get to it.
I'll be here with you, buddy. I'll be here with you.
All righty. Well, whenever we're ready, should be shortly. I'll keep. How's it been going, Kobe? You've had a long day yesterday. You know, it's been a long weekend for you. Didn't have to lock in. It's about that time where he's gonna have to start having a chit chat.
Yeah, I watched some of The Magicians, which is a Netflix series. It's action-packed. I'm a big lover of magic, so there's my quick recommendation here. Nice. Between the series. Honestly, though, we're completely ready here for Team Liquid. I think after game number 1, their chances probably went up through this series, so hoping that EG can pull something out, because I'm always a really big underdog fan.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone is. It's always nice to cheer for the underdog. I think the thing, I want everyone to take away while we're thinking about, the upcoming finals with Cloud9 winning yesterday and Team Liquid being the favorites here, don't let the names in the finals fool you into thinking that the LCS is another, top-heavy league as far as who the best teams are. It may end up that way, right? We have no idea how Spring is going to play out. But just from what we've seen already in the lock-in, the fact that it's 2 extremely recognizable names, almost at an international level from North America in Team Liquid and Cloud9, that may be playing in the final if Team Liquid do hold as the favorites and win today and play Cloud9 tomorrow in the final. That shouldn't take away from the work that EG, 100 Thieves, and the rest of the teams in the LCS has done to showcase already so much potential, so much growth, and just so much good league in a very short amount of time, right? These are put together rosters. In some cases, there were lots of subs playing for different teams as players' visas and traveling happened given the global situation. So it's been so fun to, again, have this tournament as kind of a warm-up, kind of an early look into the upcoming regular season that is going to be starting relatively soon. But again, it's just don't look at TLC 9 as the final and be like, oh, the LCS is the same. It's not. Trust me. There is so much more happening, and I think Spring will absolutely represent that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It is kind of comical to me that literally everybody predicted Team Liquid and Cloud9 as top 2 teams, but it doesn't tell the whole story because of how close the previous series was. 100 Thieves very well could have, and were in a position to win that series if they hadn't gone for the Tom Kench dive. I don't know if I'm ready to lay my promises down because this is probably the third time that we've seen a short message coming through. What is your most recent Netflix watch?
So I have something very, very, I guess. Here's the thing. I love TV, but for some reason,
this is a loaded. This is not a loaded question. Okay.
So this is the thing. So it's not a loaded question. It's a weird thing for me. Like, I love television, but for some reason, and I think this is like how hooked into like games and like digital things that's kind of happened. I struggle to get through things. Like, I'll like start a season of something. I'm like, this is amazing, and I'll get like a third of the way through, and I'll just leave it. And then maybe I'll come back to it eventually. But I can't tell you how many good shows that I've left behind being like, oh, I'll watch the last few episodes later, and I just never finish it. And I don't know why this is a thing, because I could sit through like tons of different YouTube videos. I can play games for hours on end. But for some reason, kind of like reading, where it's like, I know I like doing this. This is a good thing to do. But somehow the time investment seems so much higher that I just default to doing something else for just as long as it would have taken me to watch an episode of something. So I don't know. I actually don't have anything right now. So maybe I'll check out The Magicians. Because
that was a very long answer for an I don't know.
Basically, right. I had to explain the reason why, though. I like television.
Okay.
I'm very bad at watching it, if that makes sense.
We're a little defensive about the lack of recommendation on hand, ready to go. Don't worry. No judgment here, Pastry Time. You can just take mine instead. Delve into that one. I will say it's definitely a loaded show, and there are a lot of warnings that come with watching it. But it's got some good twists in there. And yeah, I've always been into anything magic related.
All right. Well, again, still chilling out. Everything's A-okay. I don't know. I feel like... Okay, actually, Kobe, did you make a prediction for this series? Because this is something that's been different in that I know that behind the scenes, producers and writers are trying to collect more and more predictions. Actually, we'll hold that thought because, unfortunately, we are going to be back in just a few minutes. We'll be back. We're going to go to the analyst desk while we wait for the second game to start.
If he could actually nail the corners of the box, like, I'm trapped.
Hey, what's up? It's us at the analyst desk.
Hello.
Bet you weren't expecting to see us so soon. Can confirm Magicians is a good series. Just wanted to get that out there. Also, I think Kobe might have a future ahead of him as a mime. I know it was only a couple there, but I really felt like he was trapped in that box there with Pastry Time.
Draft, guys. Draft.
Time? Let's talk draft.
Draft?
Yeah, you want to talk? Let's talk draft. If we can get it up onto the screen, let's talk adjustments here for Game 2. And I actually want to let Primal talk on this first because you did not want to see the Gnar of all things. You were also asking for, some major shakeups when it came to the EG lineup. How do you feel they did?
I got stuff I hate, but I also have stuff I love.
Okay.
Right? I hate the Gnar, and I already harped on it. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I think Impact is possibly the best player on this roster. I don't know why he's playing Gnar, but I really like Jizuke on the Echo. He's 6'6" with it all time, which is not like a super crazy score, but he hasn't been on an amazing team, so the fact that he's 50-50 with is overall good. But what I like about the Echo specifically is it plays to Jizuke's strengths, right? This is a high-risk, high-reward player who likes to go for plays 1v1. It allows him to roam to the side lane. It sort of covers him making mistakes, honestly, with the ult on Echo. So overall, I like the adjustment, and I like the mobility and playmaking that Echo provides.
I actually almost felt like Team Liquid helped Jizuke come to the Echo pick because you're banning out Syndra on red with Twisted Fate. The Orianna is banned on blue. You know that Azir got buffed on 11.2. Huge meta now. Azir is going to be picked up by Jensen. And you know for sure that Jizuke's pick into the Azir tends to be the Echo. So to me, this looks like Team Liquid wanted to have a Azir versus Echo matchup, and it's just a big disrespect in saying, Jizuke, even if you're 6'6" on Echo, it's nothing to Jensen's Azir.
I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't think Team Liquid was really worried about anything that they were going to see coming out of the mid lane, because otherwise they would have just saved Jensen's pick for last, right? They actually saved their marksman pick for last, and they blind picked Azir, even though they were on red side. So they had the ability to hide that. They had the ability to actually take their pick of the matchup. But I think a lot of the game is going to depend on this mid lane matchup. Jensen absolutely handled Jizuke in game number 1, got the solo kill, was winning in farm, had a lot of pressure, taking turret plates, really did play incredibly well. And I do think that Echo can have the ability to get out of lane, to match Jace later in a side lane potentially, and to take over a game through the playmaking. But the inverse of that is that if you're having a poor laning phase, Azir has you under your turret the whole game, and you don't really end up getting to do much of anything if the Azir can lock you down under that turret. It can also give priority to the Udyr, who's already farming at such a blistering pace. If Echo doesn't have the ability to roam because he's at the turret, and we can see scuttles going over early. So that is my big concern with this style of pick, is that you have to get through the early laning phase, and Jensen is so proficient on these mid lane mages that he knows how to manipulate the waves. He knows how to get the most out of these picks.
Yeah, now, given that it was second phase bans, and so only 2 roles to target, I think it just should be noted that Team Liquid did spend 2 bans on mid laners across from the Orianna ban on Evil Genius's side, and so very much a narrowed mid lane pool when we get to this matchup. But again, blind picking Azir, happy to play it into any of the remaining champions there for Jizuke. I think that mid lane, as you mentioned, Azael, is going to be very much what determines it, because it is the part of the comps that both teams decided to augment. It's quite clearly to them as well a place where they want to see something a little different. And so I think similar to game 1, though, where you've got an Olaf and a Udyr matchup, both very happy to get into lanes early. My question is, where do you go? Do you need to help Jizuke get out of lane by putting pressure towards mid itself, or do you rely on Jizuke to get himself out and join you to one of the 2 side lanes?
I think it's great that you actually brought a similarity between the junglers. Not only are they the same from last game, but the way the champions want to play out is really the same way. Just power farming, early skirmishes, if you can have them in between your camps. You have one team that has no priority anywhere on the side of EG. The Jace is going to have priority to the Gnar, the Azir onto the Echo, and the bottom lane as well. So when one of the junglers is trying to do the same thing as the other one, when you have no priority, it is a terrible time to be Olaf. So they better get some ganks off to help out some lanes and start getting some points of pressure, because if Team Liquid just goes 0-0 for the first 15 minutes, they're going to outfarm and outplay so much of the EG team.
Yeah, I totally agree, and there's no priority, so what EG needs to do is something crazy, right? Like, I want to see a roam on Alistar pre-6 and just try to, disrupt mid lane. Olaf is not going to bring a ton of CC to a gank, so he's going to need some help from the other lanes. Jhin can 1v2 until 6, at which point Kalista Thresh Dive is a risk. So, look, at the end of the day, this is probably not the kind of draft that you go for if you think it's a 50-50 chance of beating the enemy team. But when you think that you're the inferior team, which you should, if you're EG, if we're being honest, you need to go through something pretty counterintuitive.
I think despite the fact that, how the mid lane goes will have a huge effect on the game, I think the junglers are going to be drawn a lot to the bot side. Dragon stacking, and also that's where your gank assist is. Both supports can act as hard engage. Lantern in your Udyr, flash flay as you're doing it. That can set up for the Udyr, and likewise, you have Q flash, try to knock back the Kalista away from the potential Lantern there from Thresh. Those are the types of plays they could look for, and if you can get an in there, then maybe you can draw your opponents into a bad fight at Dragon, or start stacking towards an eventual soul, find some way to bring them to you and set up some flanks on the side of EG.
I like that you brought it to the bot lane, because that's another notable shift, at least on the side of EG, with the Alistar now as opposed to the Seraphine. And actually, if we recall, in Game 1, I recognized a little while ago at this point, one of the big one team fights for Evil Geniuses was that bot lane base defense, in which Ignar was able to land a very crucial 2-man ult alongside Impact coming up big on the Gnar as well. And so again, just highlighting those 2 players, but the question remains, what can he get done on a pick like Alistar? Crumbs, when we had Papa Smithy on the desk at the top of the day, and he talked about preparing against Ignar, he said the big thing is always tracking him in those fights. If you don't have eyes on him, he's likely already in position in the flank to do you in.
So I think you and the rest of the desk is doing a great job in just priming what Ignar can do here, because you see what he can do on Seraphine. Yes, he's a very talented support and can find those engages, but just like Primal said, this is a team that is the underdog against Team Liquid. You need to have that X factor. So where do you find it? When you have Ignar on your team, you always find it with giving him an engaged champion that allows him to flank. It's those flanks that surprise an opponent and break apart all these formations that Team Liquid can go for. Whether we saw from Vulcan's Alistar a few days ago how effective it was in disrupting a team fight, you could see the same thing here out of Ignar. So if he can get behind enemy lines on Team Liquid, you can nullify these champions like Thresh, Kalista, just immediately bop them into the team. They're out of position and you've won a fight. So I need to see Ignar get behind enemy lines. Although if Team Liquid watch the desk, they should know that, hey, Papa has some right ideas here. You need to track these people that are trying to flank.
And while Seraphine can have the good engages like we saw out of Ignar, to me the biggest difference is that Seraphine is not much of a roaming threat, while Alistar is, and that is right in Ignar's wheelhouse.
Absolutely agree. I think, we all love this pivot by Ignar onto a more playmaking roaming support. And I just want to note, this bot lane did not get eviscerated by TL's Core JJ and Tactical like every other bot lane up to this point. So at this point, you should be able to invest a little bit of trust and say, hey, look, you guys are actually doing okay in the 2v2. Given that, let's see if we can give Ignar something that, again, can make roams on mid, sort of disrupt the map, and make this a less predictable game for TL.
It's tough though, right? Because I'm looking at this matchup now, and as we mentioned, roaming support for Alistar. That insinuates that Deathly is going to be left on his own a little bit more than maybe he was in game one. So then can he be taken advantage of in Ignar's absence? And then beyond that, again, let's recall the team fights. Core JJ didn't miss a hook outside of lane phase. So honestly, I don't really care if he goes even, if he's just going to hook your priority target every single fight after that.
That's just broken, man. It's the Core JJ diff like we were talking about, but it's scary. If you are thinking about that potential, if it is not a matched roam, and you are almost any champion, but Jhin in particular, against Kalista and Thresh, that is terrifying as far as being able to survive in the 1v2.
I mean, I think Deathly is actually being a very good AD thus far, and he is underperforming. We saw a few days ago the stats. He's right up there with the top 4 bot lanes that we have thus far, so I think that he can survive definitely if Ignar wants to leave the lane. We've seen Wild Turtle and Ignar kind of try that same thing last year on FlyQuest, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do it now. The danger is that dive with the Kalista, but if the game just revolves around support and jungle, we're actually just going to have an inverse of the top lane and bot lane where the ADs are just kind of farming and hoping that their team kills everybody, and then they're like, yeah, all right, good job, support. I'm just chilling here, last hitting.
Yeah, and I agree with Crumbs that Deathly's actually been quite good so far outside of that insane hook from Core JJ, which I don't think any AD gets away from. So there's an opportunity here to sort of rethink the strategy as far as EG goes. Maybe instead of making plays around top and mid, you look for Impact to maybe get a roam down bottom, or a TP down bottom. He said in interviews, hey, I would love to pay them a visit in TP. This is a good opportunity to do it. And then once Olaf is 6, so long as the gank doesn't get telegraphed so much, he can just pop his Ragnarok, run into Thresh, and they could just kill the Thresh or the Kalista. It doesn't really matter which one. So there might be an opportunity to try to make kills bot.
Another small thing I have some curiosities around. It's very simple, but just the fact that losing team gets side selection. And so often, especially early on in a series, you lose a game, you flip sides, you go, let's just shake it up, right? It is intriguing to me that Evil Geniuses stuck to the same side and did in a number of ways stick to their first game draft with the Gnar, with the Olaf priority, and just shaking up, say the mid lane and the bot lane picks. So again, it speaks to, at least in my opinion, some confidence in the preparation that was done on the side of Evil Geniuses, Azael. But then we get into the conversation of what happens if you do drop a second game in a row. You've put yourself in a really horrible position with only one chance back at it.
It's tough, right? Because you can kind of argue both sides of it. If you go into the second game and you didn't really change up a lot of stuff, you stayed on the same side, you lose again, sure, you're now up against it. You're one game away from being eliminated. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you would have had any better chance on the red side. So for me, I'm a big believer in actually sticking to your preparation. Do not let one bad game throw out hundreds of scrims worth of practice and preparation, hours and hours worth of draft planning and preparation. Sometimes you do need to adapt within the course of a series, but there was clear execution errors in game number 1, so I wouldn't just be hitting the panic button just yet. Also, Blue Side has the advantage of not having to be the one to ban away some of these must bans. Pantheon is still getting banned away pretty much every single game red side. So you do have more flexibility in targeting your opponents instead of just going for kind of the OP meta bans.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, especially for matchups that are identical, whether it's Gnar versus Jace or jungle matchup. You can just try to mix things up as well. So even though you might have had the same game 1, you can switch up your route, switch up your gank pass, and throw a curveball at your opponent who might have become a little more expecting of what you're trying to do. So sticking to the game plan of game 1, hey, you might have actually even had a really good plan that the enemy just was barely able to overcome and come up with a win. So you don't even know how much pressure Team Liquid had felt, because I think, for example, in the top lane, Alphari did not have the CS lead I think you would have hoped to see from a Jace versus the Gnar, and Impact still had a great influence in the team. So despite the game being a loss, I think there was a lot of places where EG can say, all right, well, whatever we had here, there is a glimmer of hope. Tweak it a little. Maybe Jizuka plays a bit better, and maybe we can get a game 3.
Agree with both Azael and Crumbs. I think definitely you don't want to throw out, dozens of hours of preparation. That said, it all depends on what kind of preparation you did and what kind of assumptions are underlying that preparation, right? If the preparation was, hey, we're going to pick sort of even lanes and hope to out-execute our opponents, that's bad prep. Now, what I'm seeing from game 2 is them saying, okay, look, we need to do something that is a little bit more dynamic, a little less predictable by going for the Echo, going for the Alistar. So long as that's part of their preparation, and plan C, if they lose this game, looks more like that and more like game 1, I'm on board with what EG is doing.
All right, well, the teams have done plenty of prep. They've also done some waiting. We'll see if they can keep that prep front of mind. We want to thank you all at home for sticking with us here while we resolve these tech issues. We are going to take another quick breather, and then we'll have Kobe and Pastry time here on the other side with the cast. See you soon.
Welcome back, and sorry everyone for the delay. As we reported, a player on Team Liquid had an issue with screen flickering. Unfortunately, Team Liquid did not have recorded evidence of the issue, and in the remote LCS guidebook, we clearly state that video evidence is needed in case of a chrono break. So as you might expect, there was lots of discussion in the moment around this all, and that attributed to the delay. However, we are ready to get into game number 2, so thank you for sticking with us. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you, Kobe, for coming back to talk more League of Legends, because we got maybe many more games to go. This is only the second game starting up now as EG are down 1 to TL.
Oh, baby, I am so ready to get into this one. What an epic buildup we have had. You know, testing out some new strategies here, going over the draft for as long as possible. Let's get into it, though. We are back, and let's play some video games.
Alrighty, my favorite thing. Play/watch video games. Actually, it's probably watch video games. And these two teams, oh, such a joy to watch here. Is Team Liquid out onto the Rift early, looking around for perhaps Svenskeren here. CoreJJ is going to be ready with the old Hookarooski flash hook, going to force the flash.
Okay, let's see. Olaf without flash. Team Liquid actually not giving up on it here.
Ignar, the one in trouble here. Good rip of the spears there from Tacticals. Ignar is going to lose an awful lot of health. He is Phase Rush, and we've seen this kind of be a common thing with Alice does when they choose Phase Rush over something like Aftershock. You are awfully squishy, especially pre-6, so Ignar going to take a pretty big chunk of damage, but just going to go back to base and refill before the lane starts, so nothing much really lost there.
And once again, we are going to have deep vision here on the start. It looks like regardless of that ward on blue buff and regardless of his flash being blown, Svenskeren is going to start topside like we were talking about 20 minutes ago, setting up this draft phase for some bottom side. And he's going to just do the very standard Olaf clear for blue, full clear towards bottom half of the map. Let's see what Santorin does about it over the crab fight, because last game was really ruled by the early double crab from Santorin, getting him such a good experience lead in the jungle and allowing Team Liquid to just roam from winning lane to winning lane, picking up these neutral objectives and getting such an early lead.
Well, you saw first blood already there as Tactical killed CoreJJ, despite CoreJJ's excellent play in game number 1, but that is unfortunately a function of Kalista. But it looks like he's back and healthy, and they're pushing the 2v2, so feeling pretty good down there in the bot lane. Right now, Jensen and Jizuke trading blows early. Certainly a lane that Jizuke wants to arrest control of early if he can, but Jensen is going to try and keep Echo at arm's length, but Jizuke is already in there with the Electrocute, as you might expect. So again, wanting to maximize the all-in pressure when you do go in on top of the Azir. But here comes Santorin, nice and early.
Hover to top side for Jizuke, should be fine since he warded top side. He's not quite.
Oh, he's bad. The flash is going to bet Corpus. Santorin's going to go under the tower, and first blood, it is indeed. Santorin going to nab it.
He didn't hover towards the top side, towards his ward. That's what we mentioned in Champ Select on this matchup. The whole matchup hinges on Echo being able to go for E-trades to play aggressively and trade health. But look at this. He walks back down towards the mid area of the lane, and that's close enough for Santorin to flash. That's why Uders love trading their flashes early on, because you get 2 procs for your phase rush with your auto, since your Tiger does have the dot that you apply, and then you basically instantly are able to get it there off of flash with your bear slap into Tiger stance, and your dot will be enough to finish him off. Really, really good early move from Santorin. Last time around, full clear into double Scuttle Crab. But the adaptation here, with a change in Champ Select, this is what makes great junglers. Playing off of what the lane matchups dictate here. They know Echo has to go for these aggressive early trades, or he's going to just cede full control of the minion wave and full control of the lane. And so he takes advantage. Santorin right off the bat there.
All right, well, in the replay, actually, Jensen lost his flash because Jizuke TP'd back in and then pressured Jensen enough to lose the flash and then force his own TP, which he's now used. So Jensen is down a little bit, a little under a wave right now, although he's equalizing that as we speak, as he's got the minion wave right near his tower. That does increase some of the volatility in mid lane, like we were talking about in Champ Select, which now feels like an eon ago. But, you know, Jensen going to have to be a bit more careful with using his with how he pressures in the lane because he's used his flash. And of course, Jizuke going to be the same story, particularly if Santorin wants to go for a revisit. So all good right now. Team Liquid actually up over 1,000 gold, or just about 1,000 gold, thanks to that first blood and that good pathing from Santorin. But still the game very much with plenty left to play here.
Yeah, Azir can, when you have no flash like this, hold on to your soldier and just keep it for the move block away. It does, as you're saying, mean you can't use that offensively. It is a big chunk of damage you can't go for. Svenskeren trying to now make up for it, hovering around mid. They've got extra vision up towards the top side here, but Santorin will meet him on the second spawn of Raptors and chase him right back out.
Yeah, must know that I think saw the ward, but he's going to pop into the Raptor pit and pop the Phoenix stance, which makes it very efficient. But Santorin now chasing down Svenskeren, who still has no flash. KoJJ also up here, Alfari also up here, so Jay's going to stop Svenskeren. In fact, Alfari going to flash in there. Ignar has roamed up. That's going to move him away, but Ignar with the flash Q, he's going to get two there. Now Alfari now nice and low with Jizuke. He's going to finish it off as Impact TP's in to try and scoop onto KoJJ. He goes.
Definitely comical messages popping up. Those are just leftover, though, from the previous circumstances. It's really just funny how the timing works out. Alfari flashing in. Let's get this jungler with no flash. But EG has reinforcements. Ignar on the roam. Alistar there to save the day. Turns it around for EG, getting them some much-needed gold, getting them some much-needed control back of the map. As you mentioned, Pastry Time, Svenskeren, he's got to bail on this because he was doing that with still a long flash timer. Now, though, Ignar, once he gets there, he's able to flash in with the Q, knock up. Jizuke gets the kill as well. So this really has ramifications for the rest of the game. Echo getting that kill does so much after the disaster that happened early with the Udyr gank. Now he gets to fund his Sorcerer Shoes, which you then get to roam around to your side lanes, keep up your pressure, threaten these dives. You can use your ultimate to snap back after going very aggressive for dives. So it's one of the things here now with the extra move speed from your Sorcerer Shoes plus the magic penetration. Jizuke's got a lot more options and EG still in it.
You see Alfari, they're getting nice and aggressive in the one-on-one as Svenskeren looks to take the first Drake of the game this time around. Does have enough space to do so, so much like Udyr, Olaf also very good at soloing these Drakes, but he's going to get some help from definitely an Ignar. More as coverage than anything else, but EG this time will be the first ones to claim a Dragon in game number 2. The Santorin still clearing, but not nearly the same lead he had before. Does have those early steel caps, which will protect him in any sort of engagement. And as you mentioned, the shoes there for Jizuke, not something we actually see all that often, but I think with how aggressive he wants to be playing here, certainly a good choice there for the Sorks, despite how good Ionian boots are on a wide array of champions and how good Merc trades can be on someone like Echo. Jizuke knows his plan. He just wants to get aggressive as often as possible.
And look what he did there. He just took his minion wave timing of 30 seconds after pushing with your level 4 Q up to place 2 control wards. So he first cleared out this route. This is the second time he's making this hover up towards top side. He first invested in this ward behind the red buff controller that he's sitting on now. Since he didn't find a control ward on the first pass, he goes back, clears out one more minion wave. That gives you a hall pass to give 30 more seconds to make another roam attempt. But since they have Alfari backing off, heads right back mid. Good chunk here onto Jensen and continues to threaten these all-ins.
Yeah, that stun just barely hit Jensen in the parallel convergence, but luckily for Jensen, he was far enough away that there was no bigger all-in incoming from either Jizuke.
They want to fight it. Look at this rotation. They've got Tactical heading here a little bit quicker than Deftly. Deftly is Jin though, so he could open up with ult.
Good spot. The sweeper actually, I believe, found Ignar, and he's so chunked already. Now Tactical's going to flash in. He's going to get the kill as Team Liquid. Going to pop the Fate's Call and keep going. Ragnarok has been used. Santorin low does get rooted by Deftly. He's going to start shooting. The Lantern is there. Santorin's going to go, but he has to find a safe way out. Impact flashes in towards him, but he gets stunned and hooked, and that's Santorin going to be cleaning up the kill. Now the rest of TL going to fight the remaining members of Evil Geniuses, but there's no follow-up just yet. But KoJJ always on the hunt for another play. The Flay is going to be good. Svenskeren is going to get healed up by Deftly, but Tactical's going to rip out the spears and grab the next one. As now Tactical is the one in trouble, but KoJJ just keeps going. Another kill comes in as Jizuke does Chrono Shift out of there. Tactical does die as Core's now going to finally have to run away from the engagement, which hasn't felt like something he's needed to do all series long. And a good play is not enough to protect him, unfortunately, as Deftly is going to put the final shot in. Ignar doesn't want to steal it, and Deftly will indeed grab the kill.
What a chrono shift there from Jizuke to stay alive. It was one more hit to going down. He stays upright here. Just enough mana, just enough health to be able to survive it. EG, though, just bleeding money now to Team Liquid. So much gold given over, and they haven't even used that Rift Herald. I don't believe they were able to pick up the eyeball afterwards for EG. Ignar, though, is the target. As I mentioned, on the mini-map, you can see Tactical heading over first with the rotation. Santorin taken down low, takes the Lantern to avoid the ultimate shots here from Deathly, gets out of range of that, but into range of impact, then immediately flash and is just there for the stun. They say no more follow-up. CoreJJ will make follow-up, gets the kill here for Tactical. Then Jizuke goes all in on him, stays there for a last bit of damage, and just is able to get off his ultimate to snap right back. And knowing that Ignar is going to be able to follow up here on CoreJJ, easy Jhin snare on the knocked up target. Ignar lets him have it, doesn't steal it away with the extra auto there. And EG getting some money back for themselves, but still trying to dig themselves out of that early game hole.
Yeah, really fun exchange. Team Liquid still up about 1,400 gold though. Santorin actually topping the charts right now, which has to feel good as EG. 201, they're going to contribute plenty of extra money in his hands. Tactical and CoreJJ also enjoying the swap that has happened briefly here, as they're going to get some plates here in the 2v1, as Paul Impact is just going to have to play back towards his tier 2 tower, but will be swapped back soon, although a ton of plates going to be collected as Tactical should be able to get yet another one alongside his support. And Jensen continuing to be beaten up here by Jizuke in mid lane, who does have the Hextech Alternator now finished building up towards the Rocket Belt, so lots more trading power here for the Echo despite Jensen being ahead in CS.
Yep, that early kill onto Jace definitely doing a lot for him as well. You know, the extra speed from your early upgraded Sork shoes allows you to threaten some deeper stuns as well, because it's sometimes very difficult to get just in range of the parallel convergence to get just on the edge, but Jizuke is so good at throwing those from Fog of War, and then just the extra little bit of move speed for your dash in gets him within range, and Jensen has been the victim of it too many times, so he has to play way more defensively now. That's what you have to... Okay, Santorin.
Base check, despite the turbo chem tank, he's going to have to take the Lantern out, does get away. Good play as well to keep Ignar out of the show, but Santorin is going to be felled as Jizuke goes over the wall with the blast gun, and CoreJJ low as well. No one's going to escape as 2 kills will go into the hands of EG.
And you better not give him this Echo again. The gauntlet was thrown in Champ Select. Jizuke is all over the map. He loves making plays, roaming around for his team. Okay, mini-map you see Azir heading up. Jensen trying to do something, but he walks right past the previous ward that was laid for the Rift Herald, so he's not going to get anything back. And Jizuke actually even chases him away from the mid lane. As you see there, EG pulling this one back. They've got 2 dragons, despite the gold deficit still standing, making continuous offensive plays. And guess what? It's Ignar and Svenskeren, 2 people we were looking at in the offseason, theorizing how these 2 playmakers, these 2 aggressive, supportive role players have been able to actually combine for some real plays here. Waiting up in that brush, Santorin walks right into them. They get double kill out of it. They get dragon number 2 out of it. And this is what you want to see in a best of 5 series. EG fighting back with all they've got.
Yep, Santorin and Koldo continuing to be very active, so clearing out the vision around the dragon area, trying to get hold of that area once again for when the next objectives will eventually spawn in 4 minutes time from now. Ignar doing some reconnaissance of his own though, finds a ton of Team Liquid wards in their own red side jungle, so he's going to do a good job of cleaning most of those out. And Mythic's now finished for both jungles, and Gale Force also done for Deathly, so those first items starting to come online on either side. TL, yes, still up 1,000 gold, but not a big lead. As you mentioned, as Tactical and Core are just going to push the wave in and then go ahead and clear out the rest of the vision, although maybe take it back here, as I do see 2 recalls in the bottom side of the river. Impact doing okay here in the top side. I don't think nearly as well as he was in the last time these 2 were in the isolated 1v1. Alfari with a decent CS lead right now, about 15 to 20, but Impact still again playing back, trying not to eat too much poke and using Grass to keep himself healthy and going those defensive choices in the early items as well. So it feels like without any intervention of another champion, Alfari and Impact are just going to be locked in this 1v1, with Alfari slightly ahead, but not so far ahead that Impact feels too much pressure right now.
I mean, the big thing to me was how Team Liquid handled those swaps. They did 2 extra minion waves to be able to pick up and create these farm leads for themselves in addition to the extra turret plates. And that's where all this money is coming from. It was in how they were able to pull off the lane swap after the big skirmish that happened up around Rift Herald. Now, though, mid lane focus, Jensen trying to bait a little bit while they just split the map. Bottom tower finished off very easily by Tactical because of all those turret plates we were talking about them getting off their swap. And they're easily able to get the first turret bonus on top of it. And they should just continue going. This does mean that Alphari is playing on the side of the map where they have no vision and they know that all the rest of the Evil Genius members should be. So he's got to be very cautious about it. But you can see him already backing off from that outer turret, expecting the EG handoff.
Yep, very responsible there for Alphari. Tactical, can't see anyone else right now, well, except for Deathly, of course, but he's going to keep moving this wave in and should be able to take this, actually. Santorin also going to come down. Tower's going to go. Impact almost ready to flip into the ulti form, but Dazuke is roamed down again as Santorin now has to get out of there. Going to be chased on by Dazuke, pops that rocket belt, but Santorin going to be able to bear stance away to safety.
Yep, one of the few champions that can just run away from Echo, skirt on the edge of your parallel convergence, and he gets out just fine. Meanwhile, Jensen does get a decent amount of damage on the tower, but Svenskeren clears out the minion wave quite quickly to clean that up and defend it. Let's see about the rotation now that the outer towers have been traded going down. Whoa!
Good flip, but Dazuke is out of there, says thanks for the trip. Just a trade of ultis there, nothing too crazy.
Okay, this is what this is what it's turning into though, because it is left alone on top side for Alphari, pushing the minion wave in with support. Core JJ and Tactical heading over from mid. They actually could have diverted and gone up there to support him in the tower take, but they're just tripling up on mid lane here where EG have defenses. So I think there's just going to be a handoff and transition back down, setting up for this dragon, catch the Nara wave instead.
Yep, get your vision as well. Core JJ with the sweep, Tactical with the control ward. Core JJ continuing to, of course, drop vision, but they're going to go for the play here. Core JJ going to be flipped in by Tactical, and now Impact's going to be killed there. Just such an easy pickup for Team Liquid, who again have such good control of the map.
I mean, this is the split map, though, that we're talking about and how it's going to play out as far as your long push. It's pretty funny. Tactical Core JJ with the wall hop here. Callista ultimate into Lantern. Just jump right over it. Secure the collapse. And they've got the wards to do it. Fully warded up here. 2 towers taken on the bottom side. You know you have to play more cautiously than that in the long lane. Alphari, we were crediting him for doing exactly that on TL's top side. Same happens here on bottom side, but TL make the collapse good. They pick off the kill, and now Rift Herald activated in mid should just be taken down with the numbers advantage.
Yeah, again, Tactical loading up the spears. Shelly going to get distracted mid lane. Here's the Ragnarok popped as Svenskeren actually ate a hook, and now a death as Tactical just finishes him off alongside the Herald. He's going to get locked up there by Deathly. Tactical going to have to dance away, but he does indeed do so as Alphari has TP'd in. Now it's a 5v4 for Team Liquid with the Dragon out. They should be able to take all these objectives in the center of the map.
Svenskeren is a Shelly stan. He was not going to let her go down alone. He wanted to usher her up to the tower, but it's just so dangerous. Even as Olaf there hooked right in, Core JJ will take that one. Thank you very much. Locks it up for Team Liquid. They give up so much there with that play. It even caused like a half hover from Dazuke. He pulled off of the turret to start coming down towards mid before they completely lost out on the play with Olaf dying there, and that is going to be 3 things going right out the window for EG. Dragon stacking stopped, mid lane control lost, doesn't get the extra pressure on top side either.
And I mean, Dazuki's trying. He's going to be split pushing here on the Echo. Very potent champion in any sort of side lane. So he's going to try and get some leverage there, but Alphari not really too worried, and like you said, has been playing very well on the weak side. Team Liquid have stopped the flow of dragons here on the EG side, so they've taken one for themselves, which delays the soul, much like happened in reverse in game number 1. And it does just feel like, again, that same Team Liquid thing where
party time
build up into an avalanche as Jizuke going to be picked up by Core, into the ulti, almost straight into the waiting arms with the flavor. The hook connects, of course it does. It's Core JJ. He don't miss as Jizuke is going to get slain by Alphari.
Yep, you can see that rotation on the minimap coming 30 seconds ahead of time.
Oh,
Looks like Svenskeren wants to make good on it, though.
Ignar here as well. How do you get out of this one? Core JJ going to have to Houdini his way out, but Santorin's fighting Ignar. Definitely is here and is going to put a stop to the Core JJ great escape, but Santorin still dancing around the skill shots. Maybe thinking about contesting for this blue buff because Alphari's here and he's pretty strong. Ignar does have ulti. The blue buff is going to be kept safe here by Svenskeren, who will pick it up, but TL still happy to take the trade.
I mean, Houdini did end up dying in a magic trick
That's
as well,
true.
so a bit fitting there for Core JJ. Can't quite pull that one off, and they do get a vengeance kill for Jizuke's valiant death up on the top side, unable to dodge out on Core JJ's death sentence, but Svenskeren chases him down. Still, it is going to be difficult now from this position for EG to regain control of the map. They really need, another really big play here. I think Jizuke on the Echo has been so good for them, but it's going to have to come up with some more magic of his own. Does use his ultimate here to try and escape, snap back to Core JJ, but then he's within range of the death sentence, and Core JJ reads him. No dodge there. Means that one goes down. Svenskeren, as you know, answers it. And you can see the collapse is happening too, and these rotations a little bit ahead of time. That's why these wards that we're pointing out through the jungle that TL have gotten with their early advantage on towers. All outers under fire so early, and Team Liquid are taking advantage, pushing that ward line so deep.
Well, Tactical's got Runen's Hurricane now, so very happy with the pace of his game and build. 3-1 and 2, 450 extra gold. His bounty if Evil Geniuses can slay the Callista, but Tactical going to make that challenging job there with the Immortal Shield Bow also done as his first item, and of course his mythic for the game. A minute 50 until the second Ocean Dragon is up. As TL have the Sun Tower in mid, just again continuing to keep control vision up. Core JJ always on the lookout for a potential play, and the top lane outer is just so frail at this stage of the game. It doesn't feel like EG should spend too much time defending it. Can you stop it, Core JJ? Just stop. Stop hooking people. Svenskeren going to get poked out there by Jensen as Baron going to be started by TL.
Number one job here for Team Liquid, keep your eyes on the initiators. Ignar must be tracked at all times. Impact must be tracked at all times. Watch out for that teleport flank. That's how EG can try and bring this one back. The Baron's just getting blown up though. No vision inside for EG. I think they're going to be too late. That thing has been left alone and Azir is wailing on it.
Core JJ going to put the box down. They're going to have to finish the objective. Surely that's the call here as Jizuke's got a parallel convergence lined up. The Baron goes down to TL, but can they get out alive? The Lantern is going to keep Tactical safe as Santorin flashes out, and Team Liquid going to get away with the steal as Jensen not even going to be taken out, as in fact the Ragnarok will be committed there as Ignar's found the engage onto the front line, but Core JJ's picked up Svenskeren with the Ignite. Impact finds one only with the ulti, and that's not enough. The hooks continue to rain down. Jizuke going to get locked up as well, and Team Liquid are going to win it all. 3 kills and the Baron, thank you very much. In fact, it may be more as Alphari going to chase down Deathly, who flashes on top of the blast cone, but that's not enough to keep safe. The Tactical is cut him off the pass. That's another, that's the last, and that's the Bud Light Aces. Team Liquid just collect everything.
You could say that one again, pastry time, because this one just got blown out of the water. Team Liquid, a Bud Light ace. Udyr doesn't even die at the end, not even close. Santorin's got the math on that tower shot, finishing off this inhibitor turret easily. I think with the respawn timers, they're going to want to play it a little safe. Yeah, don't overextend. You just made so much gold for Team Liquid. They can easily go for a reset. The door is already open on top side now. They can just reset, grab the dragon number 2, then go push on mid and bottom. Here's another look at how it started. But really, it was about the lead up. It was about those 15 seconds, basically. Team Liquid just wailing on the Baron with their Azir. Without any vision from EG, and they come to check it a little late. Smite goes in the favor of Team Liquid. That was just a nasty engage right there. Santorin, as the Udyr walks up, he's very willing to take that Gnar ultimate. That's the only thing the entire team was worried about. That's why they were kiting back. So Now we just continue the bloodshed.
Can't outrun the Udyr. Oh, maybe you can. In fact, maybe Impact's just a better target. Alfari going to lock him down as Santorin moves in for the bear stance kill, and Jensen, the one to claim the last tip. But a team effort really as Team Liquid get yet another kill. Their 13th of this game as they're looking to just smash down the bottom half of the map here. This bottom lane hit the tower is not long for the world, Kobe.
Look at Jizuke up there on the mini map trying to split push his little heart out. A good attempt, but there's no way they're going to get anything done. Yeah, he's trying to push it with all he's got, but Team Liquid have Baron buff inside the base, and they're not going to stop.
Not at all. In fact, they're just going to keep going here. It's a 4v3 right now for EG. Ignar starting off the initiation, but CoreJJ just going to make him pay for that one. I don't even think with the ulti he can really survive. His Tactical's got the rend. Yes, he does. Going to grab the kill, the tower down. His Team Liquid still trying to fight it out here, but Impact, he's respawned. He's back with no rage. And the Baron cannon is still hammering down that tower's Tactical's even getting aggressive. Now going to get the parallel convergence happening. That was perhaps a step too far. The shutdown happens for Deathly, but I don't know if they've got enough. Oh my goodness, that Gore Drinker Spenskeren stays alive for so much longer, but still not enough to actually do anything else. As Impact's going to get thrown back by the Emperor's Divide, and Team Liquid is just going to keep collecting kills. EG, they have thrown themselves at the enemy in an attempt to keep the Nexus alive, but Kobe, I've got bad news. I don't think it's going to work as this TP looks so bold. Jizuke, with the flank of a lifetime, is trying to keep his Nexus alive.
Ignar.
Liquid. They've opened it
there.
up. Definitely's getting poked. Someone's got to do something here. That Hex Flash isn't it. The combo's going to land onto CoreJJ, but the hook finally misses on screen. And they're just going to take the Nexus. Jizuke just doesn't have anything. He's got no ulti, got no flashes. Team Liquid, see you later. Nexus number 2 is theirs. 2-0 now for Team Liquid.
Team Liquid right there. What a big play at Baron. They slip right in. Jensen melts it with the Azir. EG come check a little bit late, and then losing the fight afterwards. That's just an avalanche of power for Team Liquid. They take that one straight to the base.
I can't overstate how clever it was for Team Liquid to do the Baron with Kalista split pushing a side lane. Because in the minds of EG, they're like, there's no way they're on Baron. It's 20 minutes. It's just spawn. Kalista's pushing lane. It's fine. They're probably resetting. Like, all the little choices that Team Liquid made to get to that point in the game, that Baron take, just so bold, so confident, was the cherry on top for me. Because, again, like, Kalista's the thing that I think of when I think, oh, a super fast early Baron. And Tactical's just busy split pushing away, distracting them.
There are two main mid laners that I always keep in the back of my mind for Baron sneaks now, after many years of jungling. It is Azir and is Cassiopeia. Those two can duo Barons in the mid stage of the game with pretty much anybody else tanking for them. Team Liquid are able to pull it off. Definitely congrats to them, because now with this 2-0 lead, plus having the choice, this is definitely looking like they've got it set up for a finals date with Cloud9. But we had a reverse for them to get there, so everybody for EG, rally caps on, see if you can get another reverse sweep this weekend.
Guarantee Cloud9 has already made the tweet. it's out there. I'm sure it's
actually
out there
true.
on the internet already.
Actually true.
So you know what? That's it worked yesterday. Perhaps it'll work now for EG, but not looking good here. And I think I did like how much more active Jizuke was allowed to be. I think maybe he overstepped his bounds a few too many times. And again, the CoreJJ is just everywhere in any single game. It's getting to the point now where I absolutely think you should just ban Thresh and see what else he has, because Thresh is working, and working perhaps too well, especially in tandem with the likes of the Udyr. But I mean, there's too many holes in the ship to plug them all, right? So you have to make very intelligent choices, EG, and I do want them to keep unlocking Jizuke, because I don't think they're going to be able to take the lead that they need to in the mid game if Jizuke is just left, out-farming Jensen, trying to out-farm Jensen 1v1 in mid. Like, that's not how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, he was making a lot of good plays on the Echo, little sparks of life for them. But again, coming down to some the execution around these fights, some of the picks there for Team Liquid, just too many.
All right, well, that's 2 games in the books now for Team Liquid as they take a 2-0 lead up against EG. On the other side, we'll be breaking down that win with the State Farm Analyst Desk. Don't go too far.
I don't really consider it gear. It's an extension of who I am. It blurs the line between fantasy and reality. Sometimes I can't tell myself from my machine. I think that's by design.
Welcome back to the lock-in tournament. The series score stands at 2-0 now in Team Liquid's favor. So looking dominant as ever and hoping to close it out in 3-0 fashion. But if yesterday's series was any indication, then we're only just getting started here on the LCS today. But I thought it would be a good idea for us to dive straight into this game because once again, being afforded the time, unfortunately, with that pause to talk about draft, we've gotten a lot of our thoughts out there. And ultimately, I want to see how it all played out on the map itself. So first big fight comes around the Rift Herald pretty early on. It's important to note that it was Evil Geniuses with that focus, so trying to get a lot done. Look for those early skirmishes that you had talked about, Crumbs, particularly utilizing Olaf and the jungler. But TL quicker to the punch here, staving them off.
Yeah, Team Liquid is really going to take this fight because their AD is already here and Jhin is not, so they have no problem committing for this, and then the Jhin arrives, but it's already too late. Team Liquid's already got their whole squad here.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, too, that there's a bit of an overreach by Team Liquid as it looks good up to this point. While maybe you didn't secure the Rift Herald, you kept it out of your opponent's hands. Core JJ looking to make the big plays, does pick up one, but on the back end here, Evil Geniuses will come away with two. Small compensation for what they lost in that sense, but it is that exactly those kinds of plays, I think, that do excite me about EG's fight in this series.
Yeah, I totally agree, Dash. And, this is what I want to see from EG. I want to see them mixing it up. I want to see them skirmishing, looking for 50-50 plays, even 45-55, because they need to just create an advantage out of individual playmaking. We really saw the game start to fall apart, but it was from a macro perspective. It actually wasn't because they were getting out-skirmished. The kill score was really tight most of the game. So overall, look, even though EG lost and they lost hard, I don't think that we should feel concerned about their mental state. They're clearly still willing to bring the fight.
Yeah, and I think that fight is also part of Team Liquid's willingness to put themselves in riskier situations. Last year's Team Liquid, I think, would have taken a way slower approach to this game. This time around, even though there are people missing on the map, you can feel confident walking forward, and maybe that you die a few times, but I think those deaths that Team Liquid suffer that may make their games a little bit dirtier, maybe a little more limit testing, are actually the same deaths that accelerate the game when they're on. Like this, being able to go for a big Baron play when a lot of EG members are nearby.
Yeah, and I really, really love this call by TL. Part of the setup here was actually Tactical was pushing top, right? And usually if someone's going to take Baron, you expect their marksman to be there. So I think the fact that Tactical was already pushing top sort of delayed the realization on EG's part that Baron was being taken at all. Then you see Core standing in the bush to delay. The rest of the team super focused, like we're going to burn down this Baron and then we'll fight. So really beautiful and decisive shot calling from TL all the way around.
And this is one of those things where, as the opponents, as EG, you have got to take into consideration what the champions on the other team can do at all times. There are certain champions in the game that can two-man Baron, that can kill Baron off almost instantaneously. Blade of the Rune King, Rageblade style champions, Cassio, Azir, Nunu, these types of champions, you've always got to worry about it. And they lost focus, I think, for a little bit of time there, and TL made a decisive call and punished them.
And to both of your points, Kalista as well, one of those champions that actually can take a Baron pretty easily and is the big, Baron secure tool. And so for her to have been showing herself in top lane, definitely maybe affording EG more comfort than they should have had in that instance. And so, again, Team Liquid on the macro game continuing to impress. We're going to, in just a bit, if we can, talk a little bit more about where it broke down for Evil Geniuses. But already, I do want to, while we're getting those clips ready for y'all at home, talk about Game 3, because I don't want to waste time. Evil Geniuses is going back to blue. You kidding me?
You're kidding me too, man. Don't look at me. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why they're picking Gnar again. I don't know why they're going blue side again. And we did talk about the fact that if you have a lot of preparation, one bad game doesn't mean you throw it all out. But you still need to know how to adapt, right? And we've seen them go for these picks like Olaf first, which I like. But then we see them picking Gnar rather than looking for a counter pick because they can't because they're on blue side. We see them go for Echo. I like that overall, but it'll be nice to see if they can get Echo in a scenario where he has a more advantaged matchup. So overall, there's some stuff I'd like them to change. Side selection is one of them. But hopefully they have something planned that we haven't seen already because they can't win with the same thing.
Crumbs, I'm going to get you in on the Game 3 point in just a moment, but I've got word that we've gotten this package together. Azale, take it away.
Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. Teams over-prioritizing Rift Herald. In this case, EG is sending so many members top to take a Rift Herald, which gives you the potential to then later take a tower. Instead, TL is keeping tactical bot side. Not only is he actually getting more gold than his opponents get from this, he's getting solo experience. That experience in gold is being lost to the tower in the form of minions dying, and he actually ends up getting a second tower there. And that is just huge for them because that is putting them in a situation where, later on when they actually did drop that Rift Herald, EG didn't even get a charge off, let alone take a tower, right? And this is one of these things where I just think teams are super forgetting about the experience and taking a high-risk play for really low value. Here is that eventual Rift Herald that did finally go down. Yeah, they grabbed it. It doesn't even get a charge off. And EG is trying to over-defend it when Jizuke isn't there, when the rest of the team is not around to actually defend and push forward for this play. So not only do they fail to get the charge off, they lose multiple members, they lose the Dragon on the back end of this. And to me, this is a good example of TL going for smart plays, taking guaranteed returns, and using that to snowball the game to victory.
Yep, 2 turrets for 1, 2 kills for 0. The Rift Herald doesn't charge. They get the Dragon on the back end of all of that. It was an incredible succession of plays over the course of of less than 4 minutes, which really put TL over the top. But Crumbs, this is where I return to you. Just final points here ahead of game number 3. If we're going to have something, resembling yesterday's full best-of-5 series, where does it come from for EG?
I think you have to rely on the members that have been around the League of Legends scene for the longest. Your guys like Impact that have been just playing League of Legends forever. This kind of experience is too important right now in playoffs. We're already at playoffs, basically, with these best of series. We saw how important the shot calling was in the Cloud9 series. Here again, Team Liquid with better macro decision. You have to imagine Core JJ has to have some influence on this from his incredible experience and tenure in League. I think a player like Impact can offer the same if he's more vocal on EG. Let's hear it and play through him.
Playoffs in January. Doesn't get better than that. While we watch EG and TL compete today in our lock-in semifinals, Cloud9 is also hosting their Teamfight Tactics Fates tournament over on their channel, so be sure to check it out if you're a fan of TFT. But for more match point action here in our series between Team Liquid and Evil Geniuses, stay tuned after this quick break.